Hi, I'm Margee Green. I'm the farm manager at Press Street Gardens, and today I'm going to show you how to make fish emulsion at home from your own fish scraps. So, the main part of this is actually butchering the fish, and when I say butchering, I say that term loosely because there's no technique to it. You just kind of hack at this fish with a knife and get all the soft parts you can. Remembering that the bone itself is not going to break down in a fish emulsion. So what you want to do is find those soft parts. So I have these fish that I've gotten from the local fish market, and you want to cut off, get another one, the soft, gutty, belly-like areas of the fish so that you can really get that good nitrogen and out of this fish's body as you do the fermentation process. So once you've got guts removed, you're going to try to chop those up as small as you can. The smaller that you can make these fish parts, the more surface area they're exposed to, the quicker they'll break down, and the better altogether that your fish waste will be. A really cool thing about making fish emulsion at home rather than buying it from the store is not only that it's much cheaper, it's also that when fish emulsion is made for mass production, it actually has the oils removed and it's sort of homogenized in a way that if you're making it at home, you can add all sorts of things. You can add Epsom salts for your magnesium that you want to add to it, and you get those good fish oils that are actually going to be in your emulsion. So once you've cut up, I'd say kind of the gutty works of about 3 fish, you want to go ahead and put those into a bucket. I like these 5-gallon buckets with the locking lids that you can get at almost any hardware store. And you want to make sure that you're okay with never using this bucket again for anything but fish waste, because it's going to get pretty ripe, but honestly not as putrid as you might expect. So you're putting all those good guts into this bucket. And then you come in, and to decrease the smell and add some carbon to this process, we're going to put in sawdust. You could use sawdust, you could use lawn clippings. It's really going to kind of dampen the smell, make sure that that's not as bad. But what we use is the sawdust that has been the chicken bedding in our coop for a month. So it's also adding some chicken manure to this mixture, which is just an extra boost of nutrients. So I do about 2 pints of that sawdust. And you can go a little heavy if you have extra. You could do as much as half the bucket with sawdust. So think we're now at about 3 fish, as much of the meat as you can remove from 3 fish. About 2 pints of sawdust, and then I like to come in with around 1/4 cup of blackstrap molasses. And that is basically, it's the sugars that the microbes are going to eat while you're doing this fermentation process. And those sugars are what's going to keep this fermentation process active and not really terribly smelly and anaerobic. And then you're filling the bucket up to about the bottom of this ridge with water. So once you've done that, you also want to go out in your yard or your shed and find something that you can stir this with every single day that you never want to use again. So don't use your broom handle, don't use your Swiffer. You want something that you really can just throw away, because you're going to be sticking it in fish goo every day. And when I say every day, I mean every day. You have to stir your fish emulsion at least once a day for a month. And that's just so that you're making sure that it's evenly distributed, and also that there's air getting in there, because if there's no air getting in there and the top of this molds, then you won't be getting good, healthy fish emulsion. You'll just be getting like nasty, toxic fish sludge. So you want to make sure that this is a healthy, oxygenated, sugar-full fermentation environment, so that you end up with like a really good product. And it's going to smell for a couple days, but eventually it honestly really doesn't smell that bad. You can stand near it and stir it, and you'll know that it's done in about a month when it looks sort of altogether brown. There will be oil floating on the surface, and that's good. You can strain out any solids that are left, whether it's bits of fish bone or any of that sawdust that you have, and compost that stuff, and then just use your fish emulsion like you would the store-bought stuff. So if you're getting a 5-gallon bucket of fish emulsion at the store, that's probably going to cost about $60. And here we have a nice enough fish market that this was free, and so it's just the cost of the molasses and the bucket. So that's how you make fish emulsion at home.